It's time for Liberty Today. There's lots of life talk on our show today. We'll hear from Stacey Wollman, Gordon Howie, and Ed Randazzo on life issues. Bob Ellis is here to talk about Republicans abandoning their own party platform. And the always entertaining Sam Kephart is here to talk about world economics. All this and more on Liberty Today.
Well, a lot is happening around the world, and frankly, many of us in South Dakota don't have the opportunity to hear about it or know about it. There are things that are going on in the international, the global economy that we just don't get all of the insights. Sam Kephart has been traveling, and you have some interesting information. I don't know how much you can share with us about what's really happening in the Pacific Rim and some of the international economic things that are in the future. Talk to me about that, Sam.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I had a whiteboard presentation made to me the other day by a gentleman by the name of Chris Devonshire Ellis. He's a expat Scotsman, Brit, if you will. He's been in China for 25 years, has about 300 employees and 10 offices in the Pacific Rim.
That would be an interesting accent, a Scottish Chinese.
Yeah, and he speaks Mandarin, at least to some degree. Anyhow, he's a tax expert and helps companies set up their divisions there because, interestingly enough, as capitalistic as China is, if you're an American company and you set up shop in China and you make money there, you have profits, getting your profits out is not so easy. So even though it's technically an open society, it really isn't currency-wise. So he's an expert in showing people how to legitimately bypass some of the controls and get their, the fancy term is repatriate their profits.
Yes.
Anyhow.
Better bring it home or it's no good.
Right. He gave a whiteboard presentation of the Pacific Rim over the next 15 to 20 years that left my jaw on the table. Because I've done 10 years of reading with Forbes, Fortune, Bloomberg, New York Times, you name it. And I learned more in 70 minutes from this gentleman than I've learned in 10 years. Now, the key point is, he said the U.S. almost immediately in the next couple of years isn't just going to become the number 2 economy, it's going to become number 3. He said China is, and then it's going to be followed by India. He said right now China,
then India
will be number 2 and we'll be number 3.
That's interesting.
Yes,
how many of you would have guessed?
China and then India. And the reason is both of these countries have huge, burgeoning, rapidly growing middle class. And middle class consumers is what drives spending and consumption, obviously. China today, so 2013, has 250 million middle class consumers. In about 4 or 5 years, they will have 700 million.
How does that compare to the United States?
600 to 700 million. Well, we only have 350 million people in the whole country, so you begin to get a little scale of this.
That gives you a glimpse of the dynamics of what's happening.
I think the number 600 million middle class in China, 250 to 600 million, and India has roughly the same amount, 250 million. Theirs will not grow as rapidly, but maybe to 320 million. But by the time you take all the Pacific Rim middle class, which of course they've been poor, but now they're coming into middle classhood, if you will, it's going to be about 1 billion consumers, middle class consumers. And guess whose goods they like?
Probably not ours.
No, they do.
Oh, well, that's
US
good.
products.
That's good news.
That is very good news. But the point is, the American companies, according to Chris, haven't really figured this out because everybody's so worried about GDP. And he says the math isn't in our favor because they have rapid population growth. They have rapid expansion of their middle class. We don't. Our middle class is depressing, not growing right at the moment.
So this theoretically should really cause the manufacturing balloon in America to rise.
Correct, if it's properly handled.
But the question begs what will happen? Will the balloon rise, or will we miss the opportunity?
No, that they like American products because of the quality. There's a lot of indigenous, in-house, if you will, manufacturing in Asia, but the quality's not there. Nothing compared to U.S. So, like when you middle class, they want Levi's jeans. They don't want some European brand. They want Levi's jeans. And believe it or not, he said over there, he said here, if you invited somebody on a first date and you took them to McDonald's, they might be offended depending on who the person. He said over there it's considered a status symbol because from people who've never had meat to go to a hamburger restaurant and eat a hamburger is a luxury.
Well, we've talked about a lot of economic issues, but I'll tell you what, in America, let's just hope that our future doesn't make hamburger a luxury.
Indeed.
Thanks for watching us today.